What's going on, tubers? Welcome back to Blues Channel 66. I have a good read here. Now, since the Black Panther weekend is over, the movie was great. I wouldn't pay to go see it again. Reason being, it's because I don't have the DVD when it comes out, so it'll be like me paying for it twice. What I'm going to do is we're going to do an unpackaging of a good read. Like the Black Panther, which is a fictitious character. This is a true legend from the Wild West. He goes by the name of Bass Reeves. You don't hear about him that much. But yes, indeed, his life story was based off the Lone Ranger character. Many will say that, and many will deny it. Bass Reeves was the first black deputy U.S. Marshal. Facts. He was born in 1838. In Crawford County, Arkansas. And of course, he was a slave. His owner, by the name of William Reeves, now he took his last name, of course. Well, from what I read so far, Bass Reeves heard about the Emancipation Proclamation, and what he did is, supposedly there's two theories. One states that he heard about the Emancipation Proclamation and he just took off and escaped for freedom. Another theory, he got in a fight supposedly with his slave master over a card game. Who knows? Maybe they both had whiskey and then had a brawl afterwards. Well, he escaped in Indian territory and he lived there for some time. After the Civil War, the Emancipation Proclamation was finalized and they needed to hire 200 deputy marshals. Bass Reeves was a tall brother at that time. He was towering. He was about 6'2", and at that time most men were like 5'7", 5'9", 5'10". He was the only deputy marshal that would capture his outlaws and bring them into trial. He had caught over 3,000 outlaws and brought them all into trial. And he only killed 14. And it was said that those cases were in self-defense. So he wasn't a typical deputy marshal that goes in guns blazing. You know what I mean? If you want it dead or alive, it is what it is. Showing the way, Bass Reeves was a good guy when you think about it. So, what I'm going to do is play a little excerpt from the Writer's Block show. They did an outstanding show on Bass Reeves. It's pretty old now, but now after watching a few documentaries and stuff, I decided I wanted to go ahead and find more research and find other people's opinion on Bass Reeves' life. You know? So we're gonna do an unpackaging here. Only got one hand. Let's see. Right on. Frontier Justice Bass Reeves, Deputy U.S. Marshal. Now basically this read is just gonna be about what it was like to live on the Indian territory as an outlaw, and also how Bass Reeves assimilated to the culture. He spoke the language and everything when he lived in Indian territory. So
and it's sad that the story never gets told. I mean, in a way it kind of did with the Lone Ranger, but it didn't give credit to the fact that we're not only talking about one hell of an honorable man, a lawman from the past, but we're talking about a black man from an era where they were thought of as less than people.
I think that's why the story never got told, you know?
Yeah.
Because had he been a white man, he would have been the greatest hero the West had ever known. I mean, because this dude, the stuff that he did, man, he makes somebody like Wyatt Earp, as amazing as Wyatt Earp was, he makes him look like nothing. I mean, Bass Reeves was the real deal. This dude would go in against entire outlaw gangs alone and bring them back. You know, and to stand trial. I mean, he was a badass. And I think the reason why we don't hear about him or know anything about him was because he was a black man. I mean, not only was he a black man during that time, but he's a former slave. He was a man that started out as a water boy, like bringing water to the other slaves, and eventually he worked his way up to field hand. You know, I mean, he was a slave. He was a real deal slave. And he got his own freedom by escaping, and he became this great hero of the West, and somebody that was respected a great deal. And it is sad that that story's not told, but I think that story's not told because he was a black man. And during the time when we were really organizing the Wild West in our history books and all that kind of stuff was a time when black people still were not really viewed as equal, even though they were free, you know? So I think that's why we don't hear anything about him. And I wish that they would teach more about him, not only because he was a black man that ended up becoming a great man, but simply because he was a great man, and he would be a great role model for kids today.